Okay, hi and welcome everyone to a Let's Play of Darkest Dungeon made by the guys over at Red Hook. This is Crazy Crustacean, and let's open this off by starting the... Oh, no, not the campaign. Let's watch the intro cinematic, shall we? This gives us a good idea of the premise of the game here.
Ruin has come to our family. You remember our venerable house? Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets.
Because, you know, that never goes poorly.
Family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth. But we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
And there we go. So, quite a heavy-hitting game off the start here. We'll start a new campaign here. We'll call this Darkest Play. I know it's not very original, but that way I don't get it confused with my other ones. Okay, so during these cutscenes I'll try to keep my talking to a minimal.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling, serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient, pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
Okay, so before we get into the meat and potatoes of this game here, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of this game overall. I've put quite a few hours into it. I'm a big fan of the art style and the narrator especially. The style of the game is very much a kind of D&D dungeon crawl if it was mixed with a Cthulhian or Lovecraftian sort of storyline. The game focuses very heavy on making a little tutorial about the map navigation. The game focuses very heavily on kind of maintaining your heroes as they go through these horrible dungeons that they have to deal with. Kind of the main thing of the game here right now, you have your two starting characters. We have Reynold, our crusader, and then we have Dismas, our highwayman. So kind of let's just get moving here. So as you can see down here, we've got our mini-map. Basically, we're just going to move over to this next room now that there's nothing here for us to do.
Brigands have
little tutorials. You just can use you just move sideways with your keys, and things can pop up. So as we see here, we're getting a bit of a random fight. Okay, so combat in this game is very interesting compared to other games. It heavily it is heavily dependent on where your party members are placed in your party and where the enemy is. So if you hover over a skill here, you'll see that there's a couple of little dots. It shows what position you have to be in and what position the enemy has to be in. So right now, I've only really got... I can't use pistol shot because there's no one behind this guy. I'm going to use open vein because let's make this guy bleed. Oh, and a dodge. Fantastic. Off to a good start, everyone. So Reynold can just do some damage here. He can cause them... Oh, that's an AoE attack, area of effect attack. And then he's got a stunning attack, and then something that makes the torch brighter and gives himself a protection buff. So we're just going to smite him. I'll try and play the game a little bit without trying to just like do... I'll explain the reason why I'm doing things, because I have played the game a few times, so I know a bit of the tricks and trade. A big part of a strategy for the combat in this game is you definitely want to focus on taking down single targets as soon as possible. So, there we go. Awesome, and now these tutorials are going to keep popping up. So once you've beaten a combat, you usually get some sort of treasure. Gold is pretty common. You can get heirlooms and items from it too, and I kind of explain what those are as they become relevant to the game. The game does a good job of leading you into it, especially with how the tutorial works here. So the next thing that I've run into are called curios. These are interactive objects that you find throughout the map, throughout the dungeon, that can have a wide variety of effects, both good and bad. Usually bad, because that's sort of the nature of this game. Some curios, when you interact with them, there's an item in the middle here. Some curios will give you extra benefits or extra negative effects if you put certain items into them. The Brigand's Tent, I don't think, has an item to it. I generally try to not look up the wiki for this game because I find that part of the fun of this game is figuring things out, learning from the mistakes of the game. Or learning from your mistakes as you play the game, not mistakes of the game. So, we were pretty lucky there and got some treasure from that tent. Apparently these brigands are just leaving their crap all around.
There is much to be found in forgotten places.
Okay. So, as you can see on the map here, we kind of entered this other room, and it's a room battle with a curio. So, we'll have a room battle here, and then you can see this treasure chest that we're kind of fighting over right now here. Okay, so I really don't like these ranged guys, so I'm going to use my Dismas's pistol shot to shoot that guy right in the face. Blanket fire. Ooh. Let's see what that does. Ooh, my dodge is low. Oof. Taking some hits here. So you can see now it sort of changed my party makeup. So luckily, Reynold's abilities he can use as long as he's in one of these two positions, so we're good. Later when you have 4 party members, it can become a bit of a problem. We're going to see if we can stun this guy. Ooh, nice, a crit. But I didn't get to stun him, so... a big thing about this game is when your guys critical strike, they lose some stress, which we haven't seen me get any just yet. But as you'll notice here, as I look over the pistol shot and grape shot abilities, I have to be in the 2nd or 3rd position to use grape shot blast, and I have to be in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th position to use pistol shot. So since I'm not there, I'm just going to use open vein, because I don't want to waste a turn. But I missed, so it was wasted anyways. Let's just strike this guy. Let's try and get this bloodletter out of the way. Ooh. And so that other number you saw pop up there was the stress. So that's another way your heroes can die. Not just from bleeding to death or being pummeled into the ground, but they can actually die or perish from having too much stress. And stress is a major mechanic in the game that can heavily change the outcome of a dungeon run or even a fight. We're going to try and stun this guy again because I'm tired of getting bled. There we go. so he'll miss a turn because of that stun. So what bleeding does is it does damage per turn for a certain number of turns. You can stack it, but the stacks go away independently every 3 rounds, I believe, for the most part. Some are a little different, but those are special cases. Oh, good. Lucky dodge there, which is good for me. There's not really a whole lot of benefit I can do here. I'm going to move forward just because then Dismas can hopefully attack this guy on his next turn here. Because yeah, see now, this guy's bleeding and he's got 1 health left, so I'm not going to worry about attacking him because he'll die automatically when he gets to go. So that's just a bit of a pro tip, as it were. I'm not a pro at this game. Pro tip. And we're actually going to... we might as well just hit him. Got nothing else better to do. So here's another thing that happens. When you kill a guy, they leave a corpse behind. The benefit of monsters leaving corpses behind for the other monsters is that it maintains their positions. So if they have a ranged guy in the back, he will stay at the ranged spot in the back because the corpses will take up the front positions. There are a number of things that you can do to remove corpses. Certain heroes have abilities that remove corpses. If you kill a unit through a critical strike or bleeding or blight, they don't leave a corpse at all. So there is another really good benefit of killing someone through letting them bleed to death or with poison, or sometimes you get lucky and get a critical strike. So in this case, you can see his corpse is just laying there because I just hit it. So as you can see here, Dismas is at death's door, which is a really serious thing. When you hit 0 health, you get on death's door and you stay there until you can be healed. In this case, I don't have any healers because this is the tutorial, so I'm just going to try and kill this guy, which didn't work out. So we might, yay, losing a hero in the tutorial. That happens very rarely, but we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't, because that would be an embarrassing thing for this first hour of a Let's Play. There we go, a nice critical strike. Even though Dismas is at death's door, once this dungeon is over, which it is right now, he'll be healed back to full health. The only things that remain between the dungeons are your hero's quirks and their stress level. And any items they themselves are carrying, of course. We're just going to continue adventuring here because there is a chest in this room that I want. So I'm going to use this. See how it says Bandit's Trap Chest? Something doesn't look quite right. I'm going to use the skeleton key on this to hopefully... There we go. The key is used to safely open the chest. And we got some items here. So these items you can equip to various heroes as you want. I'm not going to bother doing that right now because, frankly, I think they're garbage items. And we're going to go back to the Hamlet. There we go. So at the end of the mission, gives you a bit of a rundown of all the things you found. We go to next, then it gives you a rundown of what happened to your heroes. You'll see they leveled up here. It's called their resolve level. And then this means that he got a random trait, good or bad. Let's see what it is. Hard-skinned. Ooh, 10% protection. So that just means that he takes 10% off every attack he takes, which is really good for a Crusader. And now we're going to get introduced to the Hamlet.
Welcome home, such as it is. This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
Oh, bound to them. That's wonderful. Okay. This is the... Okay, yeah, just a little help tutorial. This is the second kind of screen that you will spend most of the game in. This is your sort of Hamlet... Yeah, this is your Hamlet management display, effectively. So right now, the game is going to kind of walk us through the basics. We don't have all the buildings or all the things unlocked to do stuff just yet. As you can see, they're all boarded up. You can hover over them. There's a tavern and a sanitarium, an abbey guild, blacksmith, things like that. So we'll look at the stagecoach first. This is super important because the stagecoach allows you to recruit more heroes for your cause. So we're gonna take Theon, this Plague Doctor, and Montkensi, this Seeker Vestal.
Sister of battle, pious and unrelenting.
The next thing that we want to do with the stagecoach is we're going to upgrade it here, because this can give us more available heroes every turn and allow us to recruit more heroes as the game progresses. So we're going to actually upgrade both of these, because I want 3 heroes every round, or every time we come back, and I want to be able to have 12 heroes in total. So you'll notice that cost me those heirlooms that we had been picking up. You start with a good number of them to actually do things on. You know what, I'm actually just going to get rid of these tutorial options because I don't think we need them, because I'm kind of explaining them to you guys as we go. So if I can find them, but maybe I can't, so... There we go. Tutorial's gone, because I know what I'm doing, and I'll kind of explain it to you guys, and I'm not really leaving them on long enough for you guys to read them anyways. Here's your graveyard. Hopefully won't be spending a whole lot of time here. This is where you can see all your heroes that have died throughout your game if you'd like. I could show you guys a graveyard from my runs, and it's pretty full. Then over here we have the Ancestors' Memories. This allows you to replay cutscenes and things like that that have popped up. It also allows you to keep up with all of the bosses you need to kill to progress in this game. Okay, so since there's not a whole lot to do on this first one, we are going to now embark on another mission. So you hit this big red button down here.
A mecca of madness and morbidity.
In this case, they only give us one mission to do. There is the Darkest Dungeon, but we're not going to go do that because that requires really high-level heroes. So we're going to bring Theon and Montkensi. There we go. And the usual suspects. Sometimes if you put certain heroes in a party, they have like a funny little name for them. Since this is always your starting party, that's why it's called the usual suspects. To kind of give you a bit of a rundown of the classes here that I just picked up. Plague Doctor, they specialize in inflicting blight and curing blight on and curing ailments on your party. They're very kind of good utility. They generally like to stick in the back. As you can see here, when you right-click on them, you can hover over all their available skills, and it actually also gives you a preferred position and a preferred target over here to sort of give you an even better idea of how your hero's abilities work at the time. And this will change if you switch which 4 abilities you have on your hero. So over here we'll look at his quirks. These are relatively permanent, I'd say. They can change. I'll explain that in a second. Effectively, you can have 5 positive perks and 5 negative perks. There's a wide variety of perks. All of their effects are, some of their effects are clear, some of them aren't. They're very interesting to kind of look into. The only time your perks will change is when you send a hero to the sanatorium to have a negative perk removed if you really don't want them to have a certain negative perk, or if they get a 6th positive or negative perk, it will replace a random perk that they already have in that same kind of category. So if he had 5 negative perks and then he picked up another one, it would just randomly swap it out with one that he already had. So that was the Plague Doctor and a bit of an explanation on perks. Sorry about that. And then we have the Seeker Vestal. Seeker is their level. Vestal is the class. A Vestal is once again another support class. They generally specialize in healing and stunning the party, or stunning the enemy. I find them generally a really good hero to bring on most things, just because having a healer is always nice in situations when another hero gets on death's door or something. Montkensi's got Canisi. I'm never going to get that name right. Has got a good number of quirks here. Quick reflexes. Oh, she's fast, and she's good when the torch is below 26. It's not a great perk because I don't like walking around the dungeons in the dark. That's another thing here that I'll explain in a little bit. So now, yeah, let's take a couple steps back, because I kind of rushed through a few things there. So Here you can see where the missions are. I'm going to select the only one that I can in the ruins. You'll see it's a scouting mission, gives you a bit of an outline of what you're going to want to do. The goal here is to explore 90% of the rooms. Tells me what I'm going to get as a reward for completing the mission. And these you get no matter what. Or if you complete the mission, sorry. If you abandon it, then you don't get shit. So let's go provision. The next thing we need to do is bring supplies. So this part, if the tutorial was on, the game would explain how much food and stuff you want to bring with you. But for a short mission, because you can see right here it says short, we're going to want to bring probably 2 units of food for each party member, so we're going to bring 8. It's the 2 things you generally always have to bring with you are food and torches. The only one there that is optional is torches, and that's if you want to be deliberately exploring your mission in the dark. And that can have benefits, as I'll get into in a little bit. So I'm not going to do that because it's really dangerous, so I'm going to take 8 torches here just to be safe. And then the other items here that you can bring are holy water, shovels, anti-venom, bandages, medicinal herbs, and skeleton keys. Generally, if I'm bringing a Plague Doctor, I don't worry about bringing any anti-venom or bandages because the Plague Doctor has some abilities that can deal with that. I also don't find that it's worth filling your inventory spaces with those items because, at least at the early game, Blight and Bleed don't do a ton of damage, so you can generally just soak it and be fine with it. What I do always recommend bringing is some shovels. Dealing with an obstacle by hand that you run into is a huge detriment to your party. Then we're going to bring some skeleton keys because treasure is always good, and locked treasure that you can't get is the worst. So we're going to go embark because I feel satisfied with what we've got here. A note about this game is it saves constantly, so if you make a mistake and you embark on a mission without food or torches, for example, you're stuck with that. And usually in that situation, the best is to just hit this little white flag here and abandon your mission and go right back to the Hamlet. There are some downsides to abandoning missions, such as your heroes will accumulate stress. You do get to keep any items and stuff like that, like any treasure that you found, but you don't get that reward. And it, as I said earlier, it stresses your heroes out. Also, if you've sent anyone to do anything in the Hamlet during that time, it won't count it as though time has passed, so you will still have to go do another mission to get them out of that task you sent. And I'll explain that as it becomes available. So, as you can see, this is the first non-tutorial mission, so I'll give you guys a bit more of a layout of what the mechanic is. So down here you can see the map. Nothing is really displayed. These big squares are all the rooms. My goal is to explore 90% of these, so on a short mission, I have to explore every single room except for one, which is just, for me, it's going to be this back room right there. I'm not going to do it because... Actually, you know what? It might be one of these in the square here, but I'll get to that in a second here with the strategy. So, let's press on. Nothing to do here, so we click on the next room to pick our destination, and then we start our crawl. Ooh, off to a decent start. Salvage an unburnt torch.
Handsome reward for a task well performed.
Oh, right off the bat. Good stuff. Ooh, surprised. Nice. So, a thing that I mentioned before was the torch light here. So, if you go up to the top here, you can see what kind of effects it's having and also what level of light it's at. A torch will restore 25 light, so I've got 88, so I'm not going to have to worry about using a torch or anything. Okay, so Theon is going to buff my highwaymen to do more damage, because I want my highwaymen to kill these guys real quick. Okay, actually I might want to move some positions here. I just realized. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting that these guys don't start with the ideal skills that I think they would have. So I'm going to stun him. Okay, these guys are incredibly resilient to bleed because they're the undead, so I'm just going to use Grape Shot to try and hit both of these guys. There we go. And then we're going to use Zealous Accusation to try and hit both of them again. Maybe we can knock them both out in one go here. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. Take that, undead. Get your bony asses out of here. Unlocked Strongbox. I know that there's no item that works on this, so I'm just going to open it. Yay! And we get the contents. Wasn't a trap. Okay, so what just happened there was a scouting chance, and that you have a higher chance of doing if you have higher torchlight, and certain party members and classes have a higher chance of scouting. And what that does is that shows you, it can show you up to the next room or a couple rooms out, depending on how good your scouting was, but it'll show you the obstacles between you and the next room and what is in the next room. So if we zoom in on the map over here, we can see that I'm in this room, that's where my torch is. Right here there's an obstacle, that's why I brought those shovels, as you'll see, and then there's going to be a battle right before we get into this room. Now this symbol on the room over here means that it's empty. So we're going to just move there, and now we progress through. So here we go, here's an obstacle. Now if I didn't have this shovel, I would have to... Thank you for interrupting me, narrator. If I didn't have this shovel, I would have to do this by hand, and it would cause my guys a lot of stress and a lot of health damage. So we're going to use the shovel to quickly break that away, and that used up one of my shovels here, so that's why there's the benefit of bringing a couple. Here's that fight that we saw from scouting, and we are going to... I think once again buff the highwaymen, because I definitely want to make sure that this cultist doesn't get to go a lot, because he has an ability that stresses your party out, and stress is, in my opinion, one of the biggest problems, is you always want to have to be managing your stress properly. So health is a lot easier to get back, I find, than stress. That might just be my playstyle, because I tend to bring Crusaders along with me. Okay, let's just attack. Let's attack this Bone Soldier. Actually, you know what? Let's try and get both these guys in one go. Boom! That's why I really like the Crusader. He does a lot of damage. He's a really heavy hitter, especially in the ruins. He's really good against undead. So, boom. Getting some pretty good fights in here overall. Getting pretty lucky, not having a whole lot of downside here. But I guess that also does come into the fact that I've played this game a number of times. So as you'll see there, I just used a torch to bring my light back up to Radiant, because I like being on the highest end of light without wasting torches. So we got another scouting there. Okay, so I'm probably just going to skip this room with the curio, but I'm going to go up here because I want that treasure. Because you definitely want to be worrying about... you always need to be worrying in this game. Uh-oh. So what that was is Reynold has kleptomania, and he just stole all this stuff for himself. So I don't get any of that. So Reynold, fuck you for being a thief. You're the Crusader, man. You're supposed to be setting an example here. This is bullshit. Anyway, take out some of that frustration on these assholes. Okay, let's embolden. Yeah, just smoke these vapors, man. Get you super wrecked. Oh, boo. Boo. Okay, but let's stun him. Ah, no! What's going on here? This is not going well. Okay, let's get rid of that. There we go. Whew. Okay. Oh, this is that stressful incantation I was talking about. Ooh, yeah, see, that's a solid 15 stress right there. Oh, yeah, and see, he resisted a debuff and being bled. So we're going to use your pistol shot, trying to shoot you. Damn! That is one dodgy cultist here. Let's see if we can blight him. Or her. Those are clearly boobs. Well, her, it. I don't want to misgender anyone here. Whew. What do we want to do here? We're going to stun Mr. Stabby Stab, the brawler here. That's his new nickname, though. Ah, but if I wouldn't suck. Ooh, the bleed, the blood. I prefer when the blood stays in my body.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Come on, Dismas, you can do this. Don't let me down. There we go. Oh, and that blight's gonna do that blight will finish him off there. Because see if I hover over it 4 damage, he's got 4 health left. So I'm gonna take this time to give Dismas a heal here. This is why I like bringing the Vestal along. Take these kind of nice opportunities to get your party back up. Ooh, got some good treasure here. So here we got some heirlooms. Anything with this purple border is an heirloom, and they're used to upgrade your buildings in your hamlet. Yellow ones right here are treasure, and you can see the value, and those just get traded in automatically for gold at the end. And then these white ones are just supplies items. So I guess I have another holy water. That's not bad. It's nice. I don't know if I'm going to use it on anything. Used key there to get this Beast Slayer's ring, a jade, and a citrine, so some more money, and another item. Not getting any great items. Most of the items in this game have negative effects as well as positive effects, so you're kind of constantly juggling between what things you want to be increased on a hero and what things you want to go down. So you'll notice here that the torch has gone down. It actually dims the screen too quite a bit. I like the whole kind of ambiance of this game. So now you can see it's dim light, and it's at 70. So what that means is that now the stress that's being inflicted on my party is being increased. I still have a good scouting and a better chance of monsters being surprised, but it's not as great as Radiant Light. So I'm going to go back up to Radiant, and now you can see that it's 2 pluses by the scouting and monster surprised. So, oh, trap. Oh, and that's the benefit of doing the scouting, because I would have been able to see that trap and potentially disarm it. But since no one in my party scouted that time, Dismas got spikes in his feet. Oh, goddamn you and your thieving ways. Okay, we're gonna need to get rid of that. Oh, man, that's good stuff, too. Reynold, not impressed with you. Okay, this is the other thing that'll pop up. This is why I brought the food. Hunger. This is a random chance. It doesn't usually happen too frequently. You can't see how hungry your guys are. It just pops up randomly, and it effectively gives you the 2 options of you eat 1 unit of food per guy, or you starve, and you get stress and damage, and it sucks. So you always want to eat if you can. Much like in real life, sustenance is important. Okay, this looks like it'll be the last room that we're going into. We got scouting, so I know we're not going to run into anything bad on our way there. Got another obstacle. Break that with a shovel. This is why I always bring at least 2 shovels. Usually for me, it's like if it's a short mission, I bring 2. If it's a medium, I bring 3. And if it's a long mission, I bring 4. And that sort of goes the same with the keys. Sometimes I'll bring 3 keys, like a little extra, just because I really want to get treasure that round. That's only if I'm hurting for money. Okay, we're going to blight these guys in the back, because undead don't have any special resistances to blight and stuff like that, so... But that... Bone Courtier dodged like a mofo. And we're going to try and shoot him then, because of that. Because he's, once again, the guy in this party who's going to try and give me lots of stress damage, so... I don't want that. Try to manage my stress as long as possible. So, when you surprise an enemy, I don't think I ever explained this, what it means is that your whole party gets to go first before they do. They don't get stunned or anything, like they still get to go, but they go at the end of the round. We're going to try and take out this bone soldier. Yeah! That's one thing. I mean, Reynolds, you steal stuff, but you can kill the undead like a mofo, so... Guess I'll have to put up with you and your thieving. Once I got it unlocked, I might send him to the sanatorium to get rid of that quirk, because it can be really detrimental, especially if you're banking on getting treasure and stuff, and then he just takes it all.
Maintain the offensive.
I'm going to give him a bit of a stun here, see if that works. Nice. There we go. And then we're going to heal this mess, because he's taking a beating here. Let's stun this guy too. Or attempt to, I should say. Oof. Smashed in the face with a shield. Oh, and it switched my party thing. So this is a important thing to note, because now I can't use certain abilities, so what I'm just going to do here to not waste a turn, because I'm doing alright for now, I'm just going to buff him. Because yeah, he's going to die pretty much next time I get to hit him, which will be next time Dismas gets to go. I'm just going to try and stun him again. Oh man. I'm just going to stab him. Oh, jeez. Miss. Well, let's try that stun one more time. See if we can get it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, buddy. Okay, and murderify you, or re-murderify, whatever. There we go. Take out that arbalist, or I don't know if that was actually what he was called. I don't really care. He's dead now, or re-dead. Not moving anymore. So the thing to also note is that, like, if you end your combat on a room like this and there's still stuff in it, don't hit return to Hamlet because you will miss the loot here. So you want to go continue adventuring and then unlock these heirloom chests. Oh, these heirloom chests, always use a key on it because you unlock a hidden compartment and you get some more loot out of it. It's always a nice little bonus if you can afford to use the key. I believe usually heirloom chests you get stuff out of it regardless. I think it's always a positive. So we're gonna head back. We've completed that mission. I don't really feel like going after that last room. We could if we wanted the extra treasure. There's no real downside to that except potentially, you know, racking up more stress and danger. So it's a pretty good haul here. As you can see, all my guys leveled up. Or my new guys did anyways, Theon and Montcanesi. So Dismas, let's see what you got. Stress Eater. So now if his stress is above 50, which isn't that hard to get, he eats 2 units of food. So now I have to keep that in mind next time I bring Dismas on a mission. He picked up Winded and Quick Reflexes, so his speed goes down if his health is below 50%. That's not too bad. And then, oh, but his speed is +2 overall all the time, so that kind of worked out. So we return back to the Hamlet here. Gives us a little bit of a rundown of what happened since we were gone. And now the Tavern and the Abbey has been unlocked. The Tavern and the Abbey are used for stress relief. You send certain people to go to the various things and get them their stress relief that they need. A lot of guys have certain quirks that will only allow them to do certain stress or stress relief, or will block them from doing stress relief. So let's look at Reynold here because I know he's got one. He's got God-fearing. And what that means is in town he will only pray for stress relief. He won't do anything else. This little skull next to it means that this quirk has been ingrained into him and it is more expensive for me to get rid of now. Dismas is another good example. He's got known cheat, so he's not allowed to gamble, but he can do anything else. So they're pretty good on stress right now. A couple ticks in isn't that bad. We'll just check out the tavern, yeah, the bar, gambling hall, the brothel. The caretaker will always be in one of the slots in the bar or the abbey, so it always blocks an ability or a stress relief from being used, which can really screw you over in some cases. So that was our first run into the darkest dungeon. I think we're gonna call her there just to have a good first start, and people can let me know what they think of the play and any suggestions or recommendations, anything you guys want to see more of, less of. Do I talk too much? Do I talk too little? Just let me know, and we can see about improving the channel here for everyone. So happy gaming and have a good one.